When God marks a soul for something greater, He often begins by removing people from that soul's path. This is one of the most misunderstood processes in spiritual life. Many assume that isolation is a sign of failure, rejection, or unworthiness. But in divine reality, isolation is often evidence of selection. God does not isolate a soul because it is weak, but because it is being prepared for strength. He does not remove people to punish the chosen, but to purify them. There comes a moment in the life of the chosen when the noise begins to fade. Conversations that once felt comforting start to feel empty. Friendships that once seemed solid begin to dissolve. The phone grows quiet. Invitations stop coming. Familiar faces drift away. And in the silence, the soul begins to cry out, "Why am I alone?" But heaven answers differently than the world. God says, "You are alone because I am calling you closer." Blame God silences the external voices so that His voice can finally be heard. As long as the crowd surrounds you, His whisper is difficult to discern. As long as you are supported by human approval, your faith has not yet learned to stand on divine truth. So God begins to separate, not because you are unloved, but because you are chosen. Many of the chosen walk through seasons where they feel deeply misunderstood. People misinterpret their silence as pride. They mistake their boundaries for arrogance. They label their depth as strangeness. But the truth is simple. The chosen no longer fit into shallow spaces. Their spirit craves truth, not gossip. Purpose, not entertainment. Meaning, not noise. And because of that hunger, ordinary circles begin to feel suffocating. God never allows the chosen to blend into the crowd for long. The crowd dulls discernment. The crowd weakens conviction. The crowd feeds comfort but starves calling. So God removes His chosen from the multitude and places them in silence where character is forged and identity is revealed. This is why companionship becomes rare for the chosen. Not because they are difficult, but because their destiny is heavy. Not everyone can carry the weight of what God is building in you. Some people are assigned to seasons, not to destinies. Some friendships cannot survive growth. Some connections block revelation instead of supporting it. And when God sees that a relationship is interfering with your calling, He removes it, even if it hurts. The chosen often sit among people yet feel completely alone. This loneliness is not emotional weakness, it is spiritual elevation. Your spirit has been lifted to a frequency that casual company cannot sustain. You begin to see what others ignore. You begin to discern what others mock. You begin to hunger for truth while others settle for comfort. And that difference creates a lend. Every chosen soul must walk through what can only be described as the valley of aloneness. This valley is not a curse, it is a classroom. Here, God begins to train the soul directly. He removes the comfort of human dependence so faith can take root in Him alone. He teaches you that no person can carry your destiny. No friend can fully understand the fire inside you. No human can sustain the depth of your spiritual burden. Blend in isolation, the chosen learn a hard but holy truth. People are limited, but God is not. Friends can leave. Support can fail, understanding can disappear, but God remains constant. In the silence, His presence grows louder. In the emptiness, His peace becomes fuller. In the absence of people, divine intimacy is born. Spleened. The world does not understand the chosen because the chosen do not belong to the world. They operate by a different measure. They do not chase acceptance, they seek alignment. They do not hunger for applause, they long for obedience. Their joy does not come from being surrounded, but from being surrendered. Dawn, when God begins to refine a soul, He prunes aggressively. He removes distractions, relationships, comforts, and habits that interfere with growth. He makes the phone stop ringing. He allows the name to fade from conversations. And while the heart aches, the spirit begins to breathe for the first time. Jane, what feels like abandonment is actually divine protection. What feels like rejection is redirection. What feels like loneliness is presence in disguise. God hides His chosen until they no longer crave the crowd, until their joy is rooted in Him alone, until their identity is no longer shaped by who stays, but by who sustains. Chosen souls are not antisocial. They are consecrated. They are not empty, they are full. Their silence carries authority. Their restraint carries wisdom. Their solitude carries power. And though the world may see isolation, heaven sees preparation. This is the beginning of the journey of the chosen, the separation, the silence, the stripping away. Not to destroy, but to build, not to break, but to fortify. God isolates what He intends to anoint. And every step into solitude is a step closer to divine purpose. Led as the chosen continue walking through divine isolation, something begins to shift within them. What once felt like painful loneliness slowly transforms into sacred intimacy. The silence no longer terrifies them, it strengthens them. They begin to realize that what the world calls loneliness, God calls training. Bendy in solitude, the chosen discover who they are without an audience. God tests loyalty in private abandonment, not public applause. He watches to see whether faith survives when there is no validation, no support, no recognition. Can you still pray when no one sees? Can you still worship when no one applauds? Can you still obey when obedience costs you companionship? This is where true spiritual authority is formed. God removes every crutch so dependence can be placed fully on Him. He allows unanswered messages and unreturned calls so the soul learns to stop reaching for what can leave and start trusting what never fails. This is not cruelty, it is correction. God is teaching the chosen to draw strength from invisible sources. Blends the chosen begin to develop discernment that others do not understand. They sense intentions. They feel shifts in energy. They recognize manipulation, dishonesty, and compromise quickly. When they sense impurity, they withdraw, not out of pride, but protection. Their sensitivity is not weakness, it is divine equipment. This heightened awareness makes shallow friendships impossible. Conversations feel draining. Connections feel forced. The soul no longer feeds on surface-level interaction. It craves truth, purpose, and light. This is why the chosen often have very few, or even zero, close friends during certain seasons. Their environment must remain clean because their assignment is sacred. Many will misjudge this solitude. They will call it arrogance, coldness, or pride. But what they cannot see is the peace that has replaced desperation, the clarity that has replaced confusion, and the authority that has. The chosen no longer chase belonging. They rest in purpose. God often hides His chosen in obscurity, not to punish them, but to protect the treasure inside them. What is valuable must be guarded. What is powerful must be prepared. God forges His strongest vessels in silence, not in spotlight. He builds endurance, not popularity. In isolation, the chosen learn to fight internal battles that no one else sees. They confront fear, ego, doubt, and longing. They learn patience, they learn humility, they learn obedience. These lessons cannot be taught in crowds. They are learned alone, with God as the only witness. There will come a time when the chosen look around and see others surrounded, celebrated, and supported. And the question arises, why not me? But God is not building everyone for the same assignment. Some are built for speed, others are built for endurance. The chosen are being prepared for weight, not applause. God is planting roots deep before allowing growth upward. The deeper the calling, the deeper the foundation must be hidden. What looks like delay is actually design. What looks like isolation is actually insulation against future storms. Plum Dilius, the chosen will not always walk alone. God will eventually connect them with souls who share the same frequency, who do not compete with their light but complement it. But premature connections can destroy destiny. That is why God waits. He teaches the chosen to be whole before allowing partnership. When the season of isolation has completed its work, the chosen emerge with unshakable peace. They no longer beg people to stay. They no longer explain their worth. They no longer dim their light to fit into darkness. Their confidence is rooted in divine identity, not social approval. They understand now that solitude was never punishment. It was preparation. Loneliness was never absence. It was presence. Silence was never emptiness. It was instruction. The chosen rise with clarity, authority, and quiet strength. Their prayers carry weight. Their presence carries conviction. Their walk carries purpose. And when others finally see what God has built, the chosen feel no pride, only gratitude. Gratitude that God loved them enough to isolate them. Gratitude that He removed distractions. Gratitude that He became their closest companion when everyone else walked away. Damned in the end, the chosen realized they were never truly alone. They were being carried, shaped, guarded, prepared. Their zero friends were not zero. They were one faithful presence, one eternal guide, one divine companion. No, and that is enough. The chosen one who walks alone with God never truly walks alone.